Hello, and welcome to Diversity Matters, the podcast where we celebrate every voice and every story. I'm Teresa Palacios Smith, Chief Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Officer for Home Services of America and Berkshire Hathaway Home Services. And today we have a very special and inspiring guest with us, someone whose story has personally touched me. I had the distinct honor of serving on a panel with our guest at NAREP at Latitude this month, and I was deeply moved by his incredible journey. And I knew immediately that I had to bring him on the show to share his story with all of you. Our guest today is none other than Mark Madrid, the CEO and founder of Breakthrough Mavens. Mark's journey is one of resilience, perseverance, and excellence. Raised by migrant farm worker parents in a small Texas farming community, Mark's early experiences shaped his tenacity and drive. His relentless pursuit of excellence has led him from corporate America to serving, listen to this, as a presidential appointee at the U.S. Small Business Administration, where he championed small businesses during a pivotal time in our country. And Mark's leadership extends to the nonprofit world, most notably through his work with the Stanford Latino Entrepreneurship Initiative and his ongoing advocacy for inclusive economies and technological innovation. So, in today's episode, we're going to explore Mark's extraordinary career, his passion for entrepreneurship, and how he's using technology, which I'm so interested in hearing about, Mark, including AI, to drive economic growth. So, Mark, thank you so much for joining us today. I know you've been traveling, and it's an honor to have you on Diversity Matters.
Teresa, I am absolutely energized to be here with you, sitting next to you. I mean, just reminded me of your strong leadership, your past presidency at NAREP, the National Association of Hispanic Real Estate Professionals, and so much more. So I just felt such a convergence of good sitting right beside you and Mark Dima. So I'm thrilled to be here, just truly excited and honored.
Oh, thank you again. And I'd like to jump right in because I know your story. We have 45 minutes to talk, and your journey from the Texas Panhandle farming community to leading at the highest levels of business is so inspiring. It's inspiring me to me, to everyone else. Share how your early experiences, number one, shaped your leadership style and commitment to entrepreneurship and a little bit about your journey as well.
Well, thank you. Every time I have a chance to speak about my mom and dad, it just grounds me in the boots that I wear every day. And so I grew up in the Texas farming community of Friona, Texas. And we had Amarillo about 77 miles up to the north and Lubbock, Texas, 100 miles to the south. I would say if I needed a good pair of jeans, I would go to Lubbock and we need to get like a blood sample test and everything to get the permission to go to the big city. And so that was my reality. That's where I grew up. That's where the jobs were for my parents. They worked the cotton fields in the South Plains. And so that's where the jobs were. That's where they were. And literally, that's how they met. But very soon, my dad, the most industrious and resourceful person that I'll ever know, he started drawing, blueprints on napkins and, really acquired the art of welding. And him and my mother, although they had just graduated from the fourth grade and eighth grade, respectfully, they decided to launch their own business. So I'm a product of small business. So if you drive through the Texas Panhandle and the South Plains, you'll see the cattle pens, the grain elevators that my dad built with his strong hands and the support of my mother. And so I'll often say my parents didn't have a PhD in academia, they had a PhD in grit. In Spanish, we call that ganas. And so I came around after a horrible incident with my brother Leroy. That's how I get my middle name. Uh, he died in a freak accident, age 5. So he was playing underneath a big flower box with heavy pottery suspended by chains, and the chain snapped and collapsed on him
Oh,
and my sister and a playmate. Fortunately, my sister survived. My brother did not. I was born a year after that, and
wow.
my brother's birthday was around Christmas time and the holiday season. So I didn't understand all that, the
Sadness.
tragedy that my family had experienced. until I was probably in my 30s that I realized I was born just a year after my brother's death. And so I came around, I think, always with this energy inherently to live twice, once for me and once for my brother, because my brother was going to take over that welding business. He was rather cantankerous and rebellious, and so I have that fighter spirit in me. And so growing up there in junior high, high school, elementary school, I decided that I wanted to try to get educated. I didn't exactly know how, but I had that grit, and it led me to become the first Latinx valedictorian in the history of the school, the history of the town. And so that led to a full scholarship to the University of Texas at Austin, hook 'em horns. I had offers for other places, but my parents were like, "You got to stay in the state of Texas." So, I had offers from all over the country. I thought, how could me like have all these offers from these places that I've only heard about? But University of Texas offered a great experience. I majored in accounting, and I think this is a lesson for many. But I majored in accounting because I was good at it. I had just placed third in state competition, UIL, University Interscholastic League. So I said, well, okay, I must be good at accounting. I'm going to major in accounting. And so I also minored in journalism there. And that was a very difficult experience from the fact that my dorm had more inhabitants than my hometown. And so
Wow.
the class sizes were huge. So I went through all that, fought my way through, made some mistakes along the way, started growing up too, and started experiencing more of myself and coming to terms with who I was. But somehow through God's grace, I graduated with honors and started my career on Wall Street as I secured an internship the summer of my junior year and secured a full-time offer on Wall Street as an internal, management consultant there on the street. And gosh, what an experience that was. I mean, it was the mid 90s. And I looked left and right, didn't see anybody that looked like me, but I had some incredible opportunities on Wall Street, including some activity on the investment floor, being on a project, whether to retain or divest the mortgage portfolio of the firm, working on 23 Wall and our Fifth Avenue office. And so that led to a great banking career that senior executive that continued through Texas until I had to shut down a bank during the height of the Great Recession. I was an executive, and that was tough. We found out New Year's Eve, 2007 or 2008 that we were shuttering down, and we were A-paper lending. So I'd never been through that before. I never thought I'd be going through a transition like this after all that. And I had that Starbucks moment, literally in the corner. And what are you going to do with your life? And didn't have a rainy day fund. And we can go through that for another discussion.
Which is
And
another great, yes.
ooh, boy. And so then I launched the most important part of my professional career was supporting small businesses. Started at the bottom at the Houston Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, was promoted 5 times, then led my own chamber with a strong team and board in Austin, Texas. And that led to an opportunity with the Stanford Latino Entrepreneurship Initiative. And then on from there, the ultimate professional, opportunity is to serve this country as one of the top appointed Latino or Latinas in the federal government space at the U.S. Small Business Administration.
What a journey. And now Breakthrough Mavens, which is your new venture, right? You're taking what you learned and what you've done all along to make it a private company and a small business again, right?
That's exactly right. So I started with as the first batch of political appointees at the highest level at the SBA, the Small Business Administration, February 16th, 2021. I'll never forget it. And I had such great opportunities and the responsibility there with the support of a strong team at the SBA, supported millions of small business owners during that time. I ran the Office of Rural Affairs there on the tail end, also ran cybersecurity for small businesses and had a role of leading and collaborating with our technical resources across the country, the Small Business Development Center Network, Women's Business Centers, and SCORE chapters across the United States, and also led the educational arm of the SBA, mainly through the Emerging Leaders Program. That's what it was known as prior to my arrival. Then we did a little rebrand and called it Thrive, Emerging Leaders Reimagined. And so, anyhow, it was a wonderful experience. May 31st, I resigned, partly because my mother's in rapidly declining health. And my dad, we lost him to COVID in the summer of 2020. So it's just that period, Teresa, in our lives that we can never prepare for. When you, on the horizon, the thought of having both parents gone is just something unimaginable. And so I decided for that reason that I would have to fast track everything that I was thinking post SBA, and I launched my own business, Breakthrough Mavens LLC. Authored my first book, and there's a story behind that. But I thought I need to apply the principles that I was emoting and demonstrating on the road the last 15 years with small businesses. During that role at the SBA, I traveled 37 states in the 40 months that I was there. And so now it's like practice what you preach. And so I'm doing that now, and I'm excited that things are going well, and I'm super blessed. But it is working around the clock, like our small businesses do across the country. They work around the clock. They don't take a day off, and they're truly the giants of our economy, as my former boss, Administrator Isabella Casilla Guzman, used to say all the time.
Well, what an incredible background, and also the fact that you have led so many initiatives, rebranded. You started at the Chamber of Commerce. You and I talked about having that in common as well. The Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, for those who are not familiar, really a phenomenal resource. We also have NARUP in common. We'll talk about that in a few minutes, but also the Breakthrough Maven. So that started in May of this year.
So I resigned May 31st, and the business was launched on June 1st. And
So June 1st, you started your new career in
yeah.
that path, and the ability that you have because of all the great resources you know about, I think is going to really make you very successful as you look at, because I know the first year is always the toughest for sure. Now, I know we're celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month, and this question I wanted to, where's your family? De dónde son tus padres? Where are they originally from?
So soy Mexicano, and
Uh-huh.
so my parents originated in Chihuahua, and
Chihuahua.
yes, yes, and I'm third generation, and so I've been so proud to be every year that passes so much more grounded in my roots and that heritage, and so I'm truly truly blessed to have that background.
Oh, I think it's amazing that we have that because for a long time I wasn't real connected. I think, you and I talked about that on the panel, and the fact that the chamber and NARP really helped me reconnect to my family and to my roots and honor our heritages, which is I think is really critical. Now, here's my next question. You've worked with corporate America, you've worked with small business owners, executives, and nonprofits. So tell me about your work with Breakthrough Mavens. What has been the most rewarding since you launched, and what are some of the challenges you've faced in especially specifically diverse settings or, with your background? What is the challenge that you see others face that you probably have faced as well?
Oh, absolutely. I think I have I'm an accountant by trade, so I have a very disciplinarian, structural, I have my habits. I work out at the same time every morning, without fail, rain or shine. And so going into an entrepreneurial journey, I thought I was always a good balance to the entrepreneurs and small businesses that I supported, because I brought them some structure, prioritization. And so now going into this vaulting of into this space of being an entrepreneur, I respect, now I empathize and feel what they go through. And so the ultimate reward is being my own boss and literally trusting my executive decisions, trusting the direction that I want to go in. Sometimes I have to pinch myself, like, you can make this decision because you're tempered on your experience. You've developed that belief in yourself, that confidence. You trust your decisions, whether they're operational, fundraising, direction, vision, whatever the case might be. So what I'm experiencing is I don't have inherited wealth. So yes, how to deal with capital, how to leverage debt, when to secure more capital, when to go into fundraising mode. I'm literally going through that exercise right now. And of course, the journey of earning revenue and learning that, take that extra call, go that extra mile. There's not much traffic there. Make sure that you build relationships. I always used to say in my role at the SBA, it's not only about the three C's: access to counseling, access to capital, and access to contracts, but it's access to content, education, because no one can take your education from you. There is always something you can learn. And there's incredible resources out there 24/7, especially now with our vault to digital. And then there's access to contacts, Rolodex. It's not only what you know and who you know, but what they know about you right now. And the less separated we can be from key contacts, the better off we'll be. And then it's access to confidence. And so I've definitely been on that journey every single day. It's those 6 C's have been involved every single day in existence as a business owner. So I'm truly, truly excited. But I think I've understood that as the founder, as the CEO of your own company, that clearly you have so many responsibilities and they're always on your mind, sometimes concurrently, many times. And so definitely prioritizing. One of my favorite reads is The One Thing. And it's come down to, what is that one thing today that could be the determining factor between this day being a success or a failure? That one thing, however big, however small. And so prioritizing is a big item for me, as well as understanding, and I know this, but applying is a whole different story, is understanding your cash position in terms of liquidity and how that's separate from any income related statements that you have, projections. And so I'm living it and breathing it right now. But
I think that's
it's the
that.
ultimate position to be in.
I
I wouldn't
love that.
say
I think that's amazing. And also, so one of the things too that so tell me, are y'all consulting firm? Is that what you do? Are you a speaker? What is it that you focus on? Do you focus on helping other companies get better in understanding all the resources available to them through government or other opportunities? Just so we can be clear about what your organization does. So
Well,
I can help you, right?
yeah,
All of us can help.
absolutely. So
Yeah.
we are a fractional C-suites firm. So at the core of the experience of being in corporate America, in the federal government, with academia, running a nonprofit, I've been there, done that, and having the accounting experience. So I want a C-suite service to be accessible. So let's say if a company said, we've never had a chief strategy officer, we really haven't had that chief information officer or that chief cyber officer, that chief PR officer at that level, because they're unattainable. We can't afford the salaries. We can't afford the benefits. Well, I can do that at a fraction of the cost, at a fraction of the time, and a fraction of the worry. I always say that I have white collar experience, but blue collar DNA.
I love that. That's amazing. I think that's fabulous. And working with companies and being able to offer those resources that you've been doing for the last years that you've been working. And I love one thing that you said, that I think nobody in our the youth doesn't know what a Rolodex is. And I love that you said that, because I do know what a Rolodex is, right? So
That's right. That's right.
that
Oh yeah, this
Rolodex is so important.
index cards. Yeah, maybe we should bring that out as a visual. And now it's a
Yes, right.
digital
What's a
Rolodex.
Rolodex?
But I still have some
Uh,
Rolodexes back from the day I've been at this for 3 decades.
I
So
know me too. Me too. I totally know what you mean. So I know one of the biggest thing and honor that you spoke about when I was on the panel was the fact that you were the presidential appointee, at the U.S. Small Business Administration. So, and you supported so many small businesses. So what were some of the key initiatives that you helped implement to small business owners, and particularly during your time in the Biden Harris administration?
well, I was super blessed. I didn't think I had a shot at that position because I didn't come from a political background. All I knew was small business, especially supporting Latino and Latina small businesses at the Latino Business Action Network and Stanford Latino Entrepreneurship Initiative. At the break of the COVID pandemic, February 2020, I'll never forget it. I got all the entrepreneurs and thank you, Mark Cuban, because I asked Mark Cuban, I said, I need someone of your ilk to come and talk to our entrepreneurs about the unknown. Please, sir. And he did it. I'll never forget
Wow.
how he came on board to talk. And we had 99.5% attendance. And the whole thing was, first of all, I had to have an influencer like that to say, you know what, we don't know what we're going into. Learn from one of the best on how to pivot to the unknown because we have no idea. And I didn't know how bad it was going to become. Losing my own father for goodness sake.
Right.
So we said, at the termination of the call, me and the team said we're going to have a webinar every day at 2 p.m. Eastern time. Rain or shine, whatever's happening. And that's what we did to be neutral to all coast. And it led to so many opportunities and a high percentage rate, super high percentage of securitization of the likes of the Paycheck Protection Program. So the word was out about that, and we started being an influencer in the space. And so during the transition, the SBA and different people working on the transition team, I was being called from different folks to come in and report or at least testify, if you will, in front of the transition team at the SBA. And so my thing was I was always connected to the ground. So if you wanted to check on how they were feeling, you could call me. And so I think that resonated with action, with being connected to the ground. And so eventually, when I got the job, I was overwhelmed and grateful to President Biden, Vice President Harris, and then to my boss, the one and only administrator of the SBA, Isabella Casillas Guzman, who I learned so much from. In my eyes, she's been the most successful in the history of the SBA because of the action, the achievements that have been garnered under her leadership, like increasing small dollar lending, for instance, small dollar lending in a high interest rate environment. We saw more lending go to Latino owned businesses, to Black owned businesses, to rural owned businesses, and veterans and women. Even in that high environment. So that meant being in touch with the ground. We also have seen, of course, improvements with government contracting and procurement, which is a big deal, and more on the way. And then under, the leadership of my area, the Office of Entrepreneurial Development, we launched a Community Navigator pilot program under the American Rescue Plan, making the Small Business Administration, all the resources wrapped around more in touch with those who didn't know what SBA meant. They didn't know the SBA. They didn't know there's a small business administration. They didn't know what a small business development center is or SBDC. Literally bringing these services in so many languages, working with so many communities like the disability community, for instance, right here in our backyard at Gallaudet University, and breaking through to the likes of Appalachia and rural communities, of course, with Latino and Latina owned businesses, Black owned businesses, AA and HPI businesses, small businesses in Indian country, those women entrepreneurs and white entrepreneurs as well. We really broke through to provide for those who had not been seen or been heard. I heard that over and over again
I
across.
think that is such a phenomenal thing that you did because, you know, with my experience working at the local level here with the Georgia Hispanic Chamber of Commerce many years ago, I really saw that specific need. And even today, there is still a lot of, there's still a lot of people that are not aware, like what advantages, for example, and I'm going to ask you this one kind of off the cuff,
More.
does a woman, for example, or Latina woman have, and what real true certifications? Because sometimes you will get, Mark, all these mix, oh, you got to have this Weeby and this one. And you're like, what do I need to really get so that I can do business with the government, do business with corporations? That's where I really need to focus. And who qualifies? And I know 51%, but would you just give that real quick, just summation? Because it is confusing. It's still confusing.
That's exactly right. And that's why in the role that I had at the SBA, I say that I have procurement and certification bone marrow because back 10 years ago, I served on the boards and commissions at the City of Austin in procurement and certification. So I just like to put myself in the shoes that you just described, or try to. There's so many opportunities. I put it all in one category: to build capacity, to diversify revenue, and grow and or scale your business. So I think once we put in that category, we can journey along with what is the end goal. And you described it. It's where do I want my opportunities to align with real opportunities? So when it comes to certification procurement, you have to realize that there's different certifications depending on what you're talking about, and that in of itself is confusing. So you could be certified with the municipal, city government, which is different than a state certification, which is different than a federal government certification. You're right, the federal government is the number one purchaser in the world. That is different than corporate supplier diversity certification. I'm fortunate that one of my fractional roles is entrepreneur in residence at the National Minority Supplier Development Council, the NMSDC, coming to
Wow.
Atlanta in
Yes,
October, late October. And
you're
so,
coming.
yes, and looking forward to it. But I think we have to make sure that we understand the eligibility requirements and the sources of those. And the only way we're going to do that is to go to the sources and to understand eligibility and have people like me. I'm so honored to be here. Is to say, you know what, it can be confusing, it can be overwhelming, but to point toward the sources. There at the end of the SBA, I made it a point. I said, let's, when possible, let's get the leaders of all the units, whether it be the Office of Capital Access, the Office of Government Contracting and Business Development, Office of Entrepreneurial Development, and let's get them all so you can meet the sources and cut the intermediary layers of information, because sometimes things could get a little distorted. So the bottom line is there are opportunities. Go to the source and map out the eligibility. And if you have any questions on that, go to that source on their supporting layers to make sure that you understand that. Bring people along that are supporting you, right? Because we can't be the masters of all the domains. Just like I say in capital, know the SBA loan eligibility requirements. That alone, and bring somebody along. If capital's not your thing, or finance or accounting, bring people along, your bookkeeper, your CPA, your accounting firm, your finance director, if you have one, and bring them along and hang on to those eligibility requirements, whether it's a microloan, a 7A loan, which is working capital loan, or potentially that ultimate destination if you choose the 504 loan, which is used to purchase a building, land, game-changing fixed assets. It's the same with certification. So what I'm submitting for your consideration, go to the source, get educated, and make sure that in your industry that there's opportunities on the other side through through RFPs, requests for services, requests for proposals. Make sure that they align with the industry that you're in. And always, if you need help, ask. And ask the right people. Ask the right people with the right credentials, that are trusted, trusted experts in their space.
I may
Uh,
be reaching out to you again
please
to
do, please do.
connect the right people because I get that question a lot. And just like you know, there are so many phenomenal resources that are available. It's just finding the one that matches your niche and your background and your experience with that opportunity. So again, I really do appreciate giving some insight on that because I know that was just off the cuff. I know that you worked at the Stanford Latino Entrepreneurship and with the in initiative. What is that, and what role do you see with the Latino community, but playing in the future of American entrepreneurship? And I will tell you, you met Nuria Rivera, who was the past president of NAREP. She actually went through that program that they offer and decided to open her own business after that. So I know it's such a inspirational and motivational program. So tell me a little bit about how that group supports the success of entrepreneurs.
it is a crown jewel, the Latino Business Action Network and the
And it's
Stanford.
free, isn't it? Like,
It's not free. It's not free,
okay.
but there's a small cost and but for so much return on investment. But the qualifications to get into the scaling program of that wonderful gym is over $1 million of annual gross revenue. And so that's the baseline for that. And it's just such a wonderful initiative. It started with the dream of having a cohort of about 80 twice a year of these scaled companies coming from all industries, coming from all over the country. And I was a part of the second cohort. And now it's up to like 17. It's unbelievable. So there's 1,000 scaled companies that have gone through this program already, which is over 1 million in annual gross revenues. These amazing entrepreneurs from across industry spectrum, geographical diversity. So it's an ecosystem of these scaled firms. And now they're doing business with each other and getting business for each other, which
Oh,
is the mantra that just the leading voice and who got this started, Professor Jerry Porras, co-author of Built to Last with Jim Collins, Good to Great guy, and Professor Emeritus at the Stanford Graduate School of Business, him and some incredible founders like Victor Arias and Phil Pompa and others that came. Saul Trujillo is on this board, Rosa Santana, Monica Mantilla. It's just an amazing collective and others that have been involved with that. So the goal is to have 5,000 graduates of this program by 2050. And this all honeycombs into what we learned at Latitude and what NAREP is doing in terms of our Latino GDP. If you take the US Latino cohort in terms of from 2017 to 2022, it's the second fastest global economy, second only to China. And so this leads into the entrepreneurship growth with the Hispanic home ownership report produced by NAREP, the Hispanic Wealth Project report, just attesting to the fact that the U.S. Latino cohort, including the entrepreneurship arm, it's not only good for our community, it's good for the entire economy. It's good for the entire economy. And when you consider that 70% of new workers are Latinx as well, I mean, it's just a really good investment for Americans overall. And we're so proud to be American. I'm proud to have served this country. And so when we look at it that way, I mean, it's just a really good day for Latinos and Latinas. It's a good day for this country as well.
it really is. And you brought up NARP and our connection. And I love that you said, 100% Americans. A lot of people don't realize we both feel we're 100% American, but we're also 100% our heritage, Hispanic. I think it's not 50. I feel 100% of both. Like that's the love I have for this country, which has given me so many opportunities. One generation, I'm serving as in the C-suite when my dad also, like your father, did not graduate from high school, came here, without a dollar to his name, right, into this country. And look at where we sit today. So I think it's a testament to this country and to the opportunities that it presents all of us that we share and love so, so very much. We also share a very deep connection with NAREP because I give NAREP such huge credit for my capabilities of learning how to lead and to be part of an organization that I saw as a strategic thought leader that helped me become more strategic in my leadership skills, which led to my role where I am today. And I know that you also attribute some of your pathways through to NARA. Tell me about that. How did it influence you?
Yeah, NAREP saved my professional life after closing down that bank and realizing, what am I going to do now? At that time, I started seeing commercials for the Houston Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, and I went to a NAREP Houston networking event at El Tiempo Cantina. Um, and I'll never forget it. I just felt like a sense of belonging, a sense that people wanted to help me. Um, it was a family. It was a family. And soon thereafter, they got to know me and asked me to join the board. I still have my NAREP, board member, badge. It's just so important to me. Like the place was on fire. I have a small box of items, and that name badge is one of them. Um, Being a board member there, like you said, was a huge lift to my confidence. It helped me to keep networking. And yeah, I have a lot to thank Tanara Houston, and then being plugged in and getting to know the one and only Gary Acosta has become a dear friend, somebody that I can always rely on, somebody who has his eye on a number of initiatives that are going to prosper our American economy. And just growing with the organization over time has been one of the just highlights of my professional career, for sure.
Mine too. I could not agree with you more. I mean, he really has, every time and you call Gary and he answers the phone. If he's busy, he will call you back. I love that about Gary and about his vision and what he's done with the organization and taken it to such a huge level that, that's beyond dreaming, right? And again, the fact that we both connected, were able to develop skill sets that I didn't have personally, and to get me to this level, I certainly appreciate. And I think that's true of almost any organization. So my call out to all of y'all out there, and I think Mark's in agreement with me, is whether it's a chamber of commerce, whether it's volunteering in your local or state nonprofit organizations, that's really going to help you get the skill sets that you need to be able to get into a different level of experience that you can take back to your corporate or entrepreneur world, depending on what you want to aspire to. I want to talk about your book because I'm so excited about energy. First of all, I love the name. I love the yellow hat. I love everything about it. A lot of people say I have energy too, nothing like you,
Yeah.
but tell me a little bit about the book. How'd you decide to do it? And what is your favorite tip that you want to share with our audience?
Well, thank you so much for that. When resigning from the SBA, one of the reasons, the primary lever was my mother. Excuse me. And I don't know how much time my mother has left. And so I vowed that I would write a book and dedicate it to her because she deserved all of that. She deserved that on her own accord for her life. And so I wanted to do it by August the 8th. I resigned on May 31st. And so I really had to get to writing and determine what I was going to write about. And I had an idea. Something like this, I think you really do have an idea if you've been thinking about it for a while. So when I thought about the world, there's so many distractions. We're so divided. A lot of noise out there, not a whole lot of optimism sometimes. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to come up with a series called Self-Fueling Excellence. And it's being trademarked, and then I thought that's going to have three pillars, which really are the pillars of my brand, Mark L. Madrid, that the company falls under, Breakthrough Mavens, LLC. And that's energy, discipline, and grit. I realized, and this should be hopefully resonate with you that are listening out there, that you are uniquely formed. There's only one of you. Sometimes life is hard. I've been through some really lowest of the lows. I mean, I've been through depression and addiction and other things that people have to go through sometimes. And then I realized what pulled me out was faith in God, and what pulled me out was energy, discipline, and grit. And so self-fueling excellence will be on those pillars. So I had to start with the energy. And I got this done by my mother's birthday, and had that first book signing in Abilene, Texas,
Oh,
at the Abilene Donut Shop, where it
was
should
she
be.
so proud of you? Is she so, I
Yeah,
just can't even imagine.
yeah, and I'll read you the dedication to my
Yes,
mother.
please do.
Name of the book is 21 Uncomplicated and Easy Tips to Start Your Day Energized by 9 a.m. And 9 a.m. because I'm an honorary colonel for the United States Army. There's a great campaign in the mid 80s. We can do more by 9 a.m. than most people do all day. And I think it's definitely true. That's how I live my life. So the dedication of this book is wholeheartedly dedicated to my mother, Maria Madrid. a woman of extraordinary tenacity. She has selflessly devoted her life to her children. As she bravely navigates through a series of major challenges, I pray specifically, that she claims and fuels her epic tenacity and grit. These are the principles that I'm privileged to have inherited from her and my father, and they serve as pillars of this book series. My deepest hope is that she fully recognizes and embraces these qualities within herself, just as they have profoundly shaped my life and work. This book is not just a testament to these principles, but also a tribute to her life as I was formed from her.
Oh my God. Just like, that is so beautiful. I know that if my children did anything like that, I would be in such pride and such tears. That is so beautiful, Mark. That is absolutely beautiful. I know that she has to be so proud of everything you've accomplished, specifically the fact that you now know and the fact that you're so disciplined. Gino Bafari, who's our CEO, is going to love this series. He's going to love seeing you because he's the same, he has the same exact principles that you have as far as doing, getting up early, getting everything done. The testament of work that you already said, doing everything before 9 a.m. before the rest of the world does, right? I think that is just an incredible and inspiring, like I said, a story of resilience. And of course, as you pursue excellence, and the fact that you've got one and you still have two goals set, I think that's incredible. So I can't wait. When is the book? Is the book out now?
The book is out on Amazon, and I'm happy to announce that it's hit number one bestseller in three categories. And so I never thought beyond my wildest imagination. The support that I've had across America and those who have purchased the book or downloaded it on Amazon has been tremendous. It's beyond any of my wildest expectations. And I think it's because this started as a coffee book. Literally, it's an easy read. It's just a few pages, but you can tell that the principles there are well curated over the school of hard knocks. And so, where this is going are principles and frameworks that really shaped my business life. But it had to start with 21 tips that were accessible by all. If you have a goal to drink 8 glasses of water per day, well, by golly, by 9 a.m., drink two, and you're 25% there. Start off with your most, cheerful, uplifting song. Go without screens of any sort for 30 minutes. Splash cold water on your face. It's just tips like that. Literally, I've been just gobsmacked by people telling me, Mark, I splashed cold water on my face. I really needed to do so today. Mark, I did that, quick affirmation, and it really led to an opportunity. That one thing that I mentioned earlier today, I said, organize that, just a small thing before you leave the house. The example that I have in here is that one section in the refrigerator, or, that pencil holder that has so many pens that's overflowing. Just that one thing that you can do to walk out accomplished could literally set the tone for the day. I always say that those negative thoughts can run laps around those positive ones. So we need to barrage ourselves with those pleasant ones. And that literally could shape the trajectory not only of your day. And think of it like this. I say a whole lot of little goes a long way. So think of a string of days, architected in that manner, then it really leads to momentum, and those small steps become leaps. So it's also a principle that I uphold is life's greatest achievements don't come by shortcuts as much as we want them to. But if you establish these principles, they could lead to that direct line to that ultimate outcome. And if for whatever reason something happens, which life does, then you feel grounded and you feel principled to persevere
To
through that
handle it.
through stamina.
Oh, well, I'm going to put the link of the book on our website so everyone, and also on the Facebook page and YouTube. So all of you who are interested in finding this book and getting it, you're able to access it very easily through Amazon. So thank you for sharing that. I cannot wait to read it myself. I'm going to order it today. So one of the things that you and I've talked about is also AI. in business. I think that is certainly transforming how we do things. And it's really critical for us to be really able to learn and to use it so that we can actually be, into the new century, right? So tell me a little bit, how do you see that transforming small businesses and the landscape?
Oh my goodness. Thank you, Teresa, for this question. I mean, it is a huge question. Everybody's talking about AI. Having said that, we're still in the early adoption phase, which to me means opportunity. Opportunity. Now, I say that, I'll come back to my accountant in me. I'm a compliance nerd. We still have to realize that there's still a lot ahead. There's still a lot of unknown about compliance factors, sanctions, ethics. They all play into AI,
Mhm.
but we've got to leverage the opportunity within those pillars of accountability, if you will. So this could be the ultimate equalizer when it comes to small business if used the right way. What I'm talking about is I've seen instances where even the smallest of the small have leveraged AI to deal with, like, let's say, reviews online. I went to this business one time and I said, there's a Scooby-Doo mystery here because he's getting very bad ratings, but I hear he is an excellent leader. So I went out, and sure enough, everybody there said, he's like my second father. He's like the Sherpa. I'm like, if I need to call somebody in distress, that's who I'll call. So I thought, wow, okay, so then why
Doesn't
these?
match, right?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. And they said he just doesn't know how to deal with that. I mean, he's just it's a big annoying factor. He's not as confident with his writing skills, and so literally they had AI through because input equals output. Think of AI as your intern, not your manager, because if you think about it in reverse, everybody will know that it's coming from AI and it's not personalized. So he literally took that and it transformed his timely reviews, his reinforcements, and it literally led from a 1 star to 4+ stars. And so that is just a very basic example of how AI can help small businesses. It can help with also predictives and analytics. It can help with education. It can help with you know, um, you know, reflections of any sort, whether a business is being featured, whether you want to deal with a mission or a vision statement, whether you want to diversify your lines of businesses, how to go about branding. So again, I think it's a great opportunity. I'm about to co-author or in collaboration with who I call my personal Einstein. We're doing a guidebook leveraging AI on solving some of the world's most massive problems. You'll be seeing that book coming out here in about 3 weeks.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
yeah, so I'm truly excited about that. But I think there's so much opportunity for small businesses. So please lean into them with also making sure that you're going to the source when it comes to critical factors that you need to be aware of when it comes to compliance, regulation, and ethics.
So I know, I think that's so true. And I think I love this quote. It should be an intern versus a manager. I think that's so beautifully said because a lot of people don't realize that you really have to provide your thought process, your wording, not just let that chat, whatever you're using to do that. You really have to provide it the fuel, in other words, to help you create the engine. So tell me, which is there a particular website, AI that you say, okay, a lot of people use either Gemini or they're using ChatGPT. Is there any other one that you think, if you don't know about this one, you might want to just check into it?
Yeah, there's several out there, and so I want to say that explore whatever's in your domain. For me, it's Copilot and ChatGPT. But literally, I have trained both of these vehicles to know about me. I've uploaded or referenced my LinkedIn profile.
And that's
Sometimes,
what you got to do, Mark, because
yes,
so for them to know about who you are and also your style, you may have to go to the paid version, which is not expensive, especially if you're doing chat or Copilot, any of them, right? Um, you may have to pay a little bit more, but it allows to provide a memory bank, which
that's
can
right.
be good and bad, but a memory bank, right, of what you've said or what you've done, so it can start to learn your verbiage, how you say things. And I really think that's the most impressive thing. But beyond that, of AI and how you use it to better yourself versus for it to better you. You really have to better yourself, right?
That's right.
All right, one last question before we're going to do before our fun question. So I know that you have recently been appointed to the Hispanic Wealth Project's board of
Yes.
directors, which I know is pivotal for promoting economic equity within the Hispanic community. And so, how do you see this appointment? And you're with Nelly Galan and with some amazing leaders that are also part of that board. How do you see it advancing financial education and wealth creation through this role? And what are you most excited to champion?
Oh my goodness, it's such an honor to be here and with Sarah's leadership and the buy-in of the whole NAREP community and Gary and the executive director of NAREP, the NAREP Familia. This is so important when we're talking about intergenerational wealth that is not only lifting up our community but the American economy overall. So I will say that all the time. What this cohort does is not only good for the community but good for America. And so we've got an obligation and an unbelievable opportunity when it comes to entrepreneurship. One of the goals of the next 10 years, and I love this group, the Hispanic Wealth Project, because we put it out there in a number, a goal. It's not well, what is the goal? It's
I
just a
know.
lot. But when it comes to employer firms, meaning more than one employee, we want to see that number increase from 400,000 to 600,000. Thank you, Hispanic Wealth Project. And there's other goals that are so important to us that involve so many other sectors. So this is a report that you can count on. It's credible. It has teeth. It is transparent, and you can count on it, frankly, to be a resource of data, because in data there is truth. It's
There's truth in
irrefutable.
numbers, and the fact that you have the accounting background could not be more beneficial, along with your work in Wall Street and in the banking industry. I think is really going to be helpful. But you're right. For those who are not familiar with the Hispanic Wealth Project, it was the foundation that was built out of NAREP's need, right? Gary Acosta saw and envisioned that there had to be more to help Latinos it started off with home ownership because realizing that during the 2008 downside of the economy that Latinos lost two-thirds of their wealth because they had it invested in home ownership. So how do we turn that around? Because what he saw was that non-Latinos, primarily Caucasian individuals, really knew how to divest their portfolio of investment, not just in home, but stocks and bonds and 401ks that we weren't doing. And so, from that, the NARP 10 principles were born. From that, all of these ideologies of how can we put on paper numbers that are achievable, but they're also we got to do it. It's a stretch to be able to accomplish it. And he's done an incredible job in the foundation board and the foundation members and the NAREP trainers, which I'm actually a
Right.
trainer and also
Thank
one of
you.
those that actually certifies our trainers for the NAREP 10 principles to really go door to door and to the boots on the ground, like you said was important when you were role in the Small Business Administration, to actually talk to the people because that's where change happens. And so I'm so proud of that. You're going to be on that board. I can't wait. And so I want to congratulate you for
Thank
that.
you,
And I
Teresa.
can't, I know we're just going to be, that group is just going to soar in accomplishing the next 10 years of goals that they have set up for all of us. All
Thank you.
right. Can you believe we're almost done? And
Oh,
here's my fun question, Mark. I've
okay.
learned so much from you, and I'm so honored to have you. And I'm telling you, our wealth of information, and I can see why you have been a valuable person in all the roles that you have led in your career. And you have had some interesting experiences from winning an art competition to selling books door to door, in Kansas of all places. So if you could pick any song to describe your journey, what would it be and why?
Oh my goodness, you're gonna take me to the Bookman song again. And it has to be that one. When I was interviewing for a a permanent position on Wall Street, first career position out of college, I realized 9 interviews that you had to go 9-0. I didn't know that till later. So one dissenting opinion, you were out. And so I also realized later on that we were all there because we were standouts. So they were really looking for differentiation. And that's where I really unlocked that principle many years ago and thought, how are you going to differentiate yourself? And so, what every interview asked me on Wall Street was about selling books door to door as a freshman in college. And so the experience was so real and raw. That's I can tell you all about it. What do you want to know? And so I talked about the habits that we learned in sales school. Some people don't agree with them. You can check that out on the web. But for me, I was all in as a front row student. So they taught me about relationship building. And what they said about that was go to the same, you're going to be in a place that's foreign to you. I mean, all in a new community. And certainly I was in one of the wealthiest counties in America, Johnson County. So imagine a book, door-to-door salesman coming to those doors. So go to the same breakfast place at the same time every morning and sing the Bookman song out in the parking lot every day. So
Oh,
that's what I
that's
did.
that's
And
your Bookman. What's the Bookman song? What?
it's a great day to be a bookman. It's the best thing that I know. It's a great day to be a bookman. Everywhere I go, goodbye, no and never. Goodbye, doubt and fear. It's a great day to be a bookman and to be of good cheer. Hey,
Oh goodness, I love it. Thank you for
I've
sharing
been
that.
singing that
That's
since
awesome.
1990 and taking a cold shower every morning.
I love it. Thank you for sharing that. That's awesome. I love the Bookman song. And I think that really wraps it up. I think it's been such a pleasure, Mark, to hear your story and to learn your incredible experiences, your background. Thank you for sharing your journey and your wisdom with us today. I'm telling you, I've learned so much and love your book and love the dedication that and love that you have for your parents. I think that really clearly shows how they put it within you the discipline and also that the love that you share to others. So thank you for tuning in today as well and for being part of Diversity Matters.
Well, Teresa, you're distinguished in leadership and as a person. Thank you for this opportunity to be with you.
All right. Well, again, everyone, thank you for tuning in today. I know that you have to agree with me that Mark's an incredible leader, and this is an amazing episode that none of us will forget. As we wrap up today, I want to extend my deepest gratitude to our listeners for these important conversations. Your support helps us bring powerful stories like Mark's to light. Stay connected with us for more episodes and exclusive content. You can go to diversitymattersseries.com and make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel at diversitymattersyoutube.com. Now, mark your calendars for our next show. It's on October 9th. We're going to air another engaging segment of Women Who Lead featuring timeless Latina leaders. And then our next Diversity Matters show is going to air on October 23rd. So I hope you'll join us right here to watch those wonderful leaders that will be coming up next. Remember, as we sign off, every story counts. And here at Diversity Matters, your story matters. Until next time. Thanks, Mark. Bye-bye, everyone.